It's going to happen.
It's happening. We're live. Oh my gosh.
Really?
I don't know how these things work. Technology.
I don't see the sign. I don't see the little
I
thing
see
up there.
it.
Where is it? It's supposed to be red.
Top left, I see it red.
Mine says scheduled. Oh no, I hope it's working. Can someone text us in the chat box saying you're live?
Oh yeah. I wonder if
now
it's not working. That would
no,
be
now
bad.
it is. It just went live on my end. It was a delay. Let me check my Wi-Fi.
You're like half dead and I'm all the way live.
I'm on the slow channel. Maybe I need to move over to the fast.
Oh, yeah. There's a lag. All right. Welcome to Recovery Talk. Somebody said hi in the chat box. Hi, Danielle. So great to have you here. Aloha. My name is Heidi Love. I'm your host, and I'm here with Timothy Earle, my great friend whose birthday is coming up this weekend. We can celebrate him getting older and older and older.
My parents were really nice. My parents were really nice. They said, "You can't be 55. I'm only 34." I was like, "That's great. I must be 10."
You're 10. How old are you turning, Timothy?
55. I'm halfway there if I live to 110, which is possible in my family.
Yes. Wow. Good job. So we have, Scorpio on the line. Let's see. I'm looking in the chat box. Sorry, I'm distracted. So tonight's topic is really broad and it's good for everyone. So sometimes people think that recovery talk is just for recovering addicts or whatever, and it's really not. Recovery talk is for people recovering from addiction, but it's also for people who want to live a recovered life, recovered from childhood trauma, recovered from dysfunctional family systems, recovered from the trauma of life in general, right? We talk about a lot of things on here, and it's pertinent to all humans. You can get something out of it if you want to hear something out of it.
If we think of recovery as recovering your true self, then today's talk is for you.
Yeah, I just talked to a client who is amazing, and she's an art teacher, and she was lit up thinking of helping people find their way home to their true authentic self through her art, and that is beautiful. So I love that you brought that up too. It's kind of serendipitous. So today we're going to go through our life cycle phases, and you'll understand what that is if you stay on the call, because I'm going to take you through it in detail. But it's we're going to talk about the chakras today. We're going to talk about new beginnings and endings. And if you have problems with starting a bunch of new things and you're a visionary and you have great ideas but no follow through, then you want to stay on this call. If you have great ideas, but you get really frustrated in knowing what action to take next, stay on the call. If you don't know how to celebrate when you've done a job and it's complete and you're just right on to the next thing and you don't appreciate, acknowledge, integrate, then stay on the call. Basically, if you do things during your day and you do projects in your life or your relationships, stay on today's call. I'm just being silly today. I'm very goofy today. I'm in a light mood. So you want to introduce yourself, Timothy?
My name is Icarus. No, my name is Timothy Earle. Icarus is my Burning Man playa name. So it does have meaning. I'm not just throwing it out there. But my name's Timothy Earle. I live on the island of Maui. I work with couples and individuals, a lot of men, on topics such as sexuality, trauma, communication, augmenting your relationship, getting it back to recovering it, getting it back to where you really want it to be. And you can message Heidi or I. You'll see our website scroll below there. You can find our emails, message either one of us. If you resonate with the way we speak, we're both very open books. You probably find out more about us on this talk than you will in a session, because we're really practicing sharing and being not know-it-alls. You know, neither one of us know it all. We've grown a lot. We've learned a lot. We've made a lot of the mistakes that you can make. So our playbook is very full of how not to. And we both studied and worked a lot in order to develop tools to really stay on the recovery path, if you will, or in my language, recovering our true self and coming into a fuller expression of who we are. And so if you're interested in doing a session with us, reach out, and we both offer exploratory sessions, a half-hour intake session where we will get to know you get to know us a little more, and we'll let you know how our services work. And that's what I just finished doing with someone. So I love intake calls. So don't feel like you're annoying us or something. Even if you feel like, oh, I can't afford it. You don't know. You haven't talked to us. Maybe, so I work with some people at a very reduced rate once in a while. So don't let money stop you. And wow, what a great half hour I just had helping this, wouldn't even say helping. I'm just accompanying this man as he recovers who he truly is.
I love something you said, and I just want to riff on it for a minute, because I know that when I, in the past, went and sought help, I got help from all different places: psychologists, coaches, healers, you name it, shaman. I've been to everybody, homeopaths. So one of the things that I loved, and this isn't true for everyone, so I'm not saying it, but I loved it when people had been through what I've been through. So for me, if you're not a recovered addict, I won't hire you professionally to help me emotionally or with something I'm going through, just because there's a lot that is different about me because of that. And so I really like that. Also, I love when people can share that they've been through it. So I had been to a lot of people that don't share anything. It's all about you in the session, and they don't share one word. And for some people, you really need that. You don't want to hear about anybody else, and you need only that. But something I love about Timothy and I is that we are not only book studied, we've studied it, we've learned it, we've taken classes, we've gone through schooling, but we have lived it. Everything that we help you with, we have really failed and learned and picked ourselves up and really gone through the trenches in the things we talk about in this program, for sure. And most things that I've ever come across in sessions, I've been through in some degree, because I normally attract people that have been through some things that I've been through. So I love that about us, and I love that we share that, and I love that about you. And I don't know, I just wanted to put that out there, that we have been through the things we help with, things we talk about.
And when I haven't, I try to help someone find someone who's in my referral list that is really good at that. I'm not really interested in walking down a path with someone and I'm as naive about that path as they are. It's nice to be ahead of or all the way through a certain aspect that someone wants to journey through. So, and that said, we are going to begin by talking today about a process that is in some ways a reflection of Chinese medicine, yogic philosophy. You're going to hear a lot of kind of, I think, different lineages coming together in this. And the one thing I would say is, sometimes we can get caught up in my religion or my philosophy or my modality is the way. Just try to be open with, this is an exploration, and don't get too caught up in the words or the lingo. But I really believe the essence of this, what Heidi's about to share, is really helpful.
Thank you, Timothy. It's a great intro. So we're not going to do a class on the chakras, but I'm going to give a basic overview so that you guys have a point of reference. I don't know if you can see this. Not real well, probably.
That's good. Just back it up a little bit. Right there. Perfect.
Yeah. So and Timothy is right. I've pulled this together from many different lineages, and that's something that I love to do. I love to combine bits of everything that help and that I think help. So in tradition, chakras are basically energy spinning wheels on our body. Well, that's the best way I like to explain it. If the sun hit you and you didn't have chakras, you would be fried. You would be burnt out because the energy of the sun is like 10,000. No, it's very bright, very big. And so basically our spirit is the energy of 10,000 suns. And our for our spirit to reside in our body, we need these kind of tune it down transmitters that bring the energy down, 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 so we can live in our body without blowing it up, right? Because if you were the energy of 10,000 suns, you'd fry yourself. So I'm very going off into philosophy right now, but just picture it for fun, just for fun.
You could look at it. You could look at it this way too, just to kind of throw it. So, right, we're talking about a modality here. We're kind of using words, but you could look at it as the energetic frequency or the amount of energy on a proton atomic level that is manifesting all the cells, neurosynapses, everything else that allows your consciousness to exist in human form is the equivalent of, and I don't know this, a sun, 10,000 suns. It's a lot of energy. Yeah. And so for that energy to exist in a skeletal nervous system, kind of denser structure, even though it's still fluid, does require meridians, requires these chakras, if you will, in order for it to all function. And okay, this is where I deviated from science. Science hasn't proven chakras yet, but we're getting there. Science has definitely talked about the other things that I was saying. So however you want to approach it, scientifically, whatever, just let's go with this idea that we are energetically, spiritually, a lot of energy. And to exist in this denser, kind of more human level requires this structure. And it's through that structure that we manifest. Heidi, keep going.
Yeah. And even if you are like, I don't believe in chakras at all, stay on the call, because there's a lot of information, and this is the template it's put in and it's the delivery, but there's a lot you can get out of it just in how you move through your phases of life cycle. And again, I'll explain that. So let's say that we talk about the 7 chakras a lot. There's a lot more than that, but it's crown, brow, throat, heart, solar plexus, sexual chakra, and root chakra. Okay. And the root ends at your coccyx and the crown starts up here. So in today's call, we will be talking about the lower 5. The crown and the brow are more the spiritual vision. They're kind of out of the physical realm. When we come down into the throat, this is where we start doing things in our life. Like, this is where we're living our life. And whether you're brushing your teeth, having a conversation, making your bed, doing a work project, there's a beginning, there's all the phases in the middle, and there's completion, if it's balanced. And so that's really what we're going to be talking today is, where's the beginning and the endings? What's in the middle? And where are you out of balance? And where would you like to come into balance, and maybe have some tips on how to get there? So this can help in your conversations, relationships, projects, creative endeavors, and life phases.
In Indonesia, the men and the women, they wear a sash. It's like large piece of fabric around their belly. And it's to distinguish between the mid and upper chakras, as Heidi described, and the lower. And for some people, there's some shame and guilt around the lower. It's where we defecate. It's, sexual. It's all these things. But those lower 2, belly button down, is where most of the energy that allows us to manifest or create in a material, physical way comes from. Whereas the vision comes from the crown, moves into the mind, third eye, and then gets vocalized, spoken, gets felt in the emotions, and then below the belt, manifested through our force of creation. So that's kind of how I look at those 3 zones.
Yeah, and that's an overview of what we're really going through. So let's begin at the throat. And that is number 1. So there's 5 phases. If you want to take notes, you can. Number 1 is new beginnings. So the first phase of our life cycle is represented by the resonance or frequency of ether, which is the throat chakra. It's called the ether or the throat chakra. Some of you have probably heard of this, like when we're choked up or when we can't say what we want to say. You know, those are some of the things that happen with the throat chakra being unbalanced. Ether represents the new beginning, and it's the void or formless state. So if you're balanced in ether, you love to go into the quiet time, the stillness. You like to listen for what's coming down from the crown and the brow. You feel comfortable when there's no decision in the unknown. So the opposite is true. Those of you that are like, oh, I hate the unknown. I don't like to sit in the silence. I don't like not knowing what I'm going to do. There might be an imbalance in this new beginning phase of the life cycle. It's also, ether is also the state of apparent chaos out of which all things are created. So a lot of times when we have a lot going on in our life, it's settling into a new design, a new beginning. And it makes all things possible. And it also gives us a sense of purpose. So this is where divine ideas, like Timothy was talking about, or divine inspiration comes in. And this is like actually the physical manifestation of the inspiration or the idea. We're not doing anything here. We're just being with it.
I'm thinking of Genesis, right? Where first there was nothing, and then there was the word, there was sound. And so it's the beginning of the creation process. It's just literally taking this vision that's come from divine essence, or it's come from deep consciousness or a meditative state, or just an idea. And then it percolates around, and eventually we say, hey, Heidi, I think I'm going to move to France and open a bakery, right? I'm not doing that, but like, that's the beginning of the vision. And then I might, maybe before I speak it out, write it down, but that would be a similar form of throat chakra experience. Even though I'm silent and writing it, I'm bringing it into word, even on paper. I'm speaking it on paper. And so this is the beginning of creation. Well, the vision would be the beginning. This is the first moment of it being uttered, being brought in. And when you think of trauma can often block us from being able to vocalize an emotion, or so it can work the other way too, where it's coming from the root, from our emotional heart center, and we're wanting to give voice to an emotion or to pain or to something that happened, explain it, release it, and it gets stuck sometimes here. You can look at, freeze, flight, fright, flop and freeze, even fight. All of these different amygdala reactions often get stuck and contracted right here. So.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, how many of you are afraid of a new beginning? It's usually coupled with an ending before you move into the new beginning, and fear often comes up in the throat chakra. So think about new beginnings right now. You can, if you're comfortable in the, sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off. If you're comfortable in the silence and the void and the listening, then great, you're probably balanced. If you can speak your truth, you speak, without feeling choked up, all balanced. If you're choked up, not being able to tell your truth, finding yourself having to lie, not saying anything at all, not speaking up, or just terrified of new beginnings, or you are terrified of the unknown or the silence, then let's do a throat chakra balancing exercise. So we're going to inhale, we're going to exhale with a hum. So I'm giving you a little balancing solution. You don't even have to think about it. You just do it and it helps. So we're going to inhale. So don't be embarrassed. Try it at home. Inhale and exhale with a hum and see how your throat feels.
I kind of want to make a loud, high-pitched sound. Can I do it?
Do it.
For my throat is calling me. It's like wanting me to do this clearing, and it sounds like this right now. It might be different tomorrow, but it's like. It's like a frequency to it, and I feel clear, kind of a toning. So you can play with that exercise that Heidi just gave you. It's a great one, and the greatest place to do that is in the shower or when you're alone driving, right? Because you don't want your kids hitting you with milk cartons hopefully empty one.
Or yeah, try it with your kids. It depends on how old they are. They might love it.
I love doing that toning that Heidi just talked about, where there's literally a frequency, I don't remember what it is, that's assigned to the crown, the third eye, the throat. And there are people that have tuning forks or singing bowls, and they'll do a chakra cleansing. And whether you believe in that or not, I would suggest before you disavow that, go get or try or do it yourself, just to make the sound that you feel in those different regions. And I'm pretty sure when you're done, whether it's real or not, you're going to feel more balanced, as Heidi's talking about, more cleared out, open.
So I'm just noticing, Timothy, that when I have material I want to go through, I want to cram it all in and get it all done and give everything to everybody. And I thought, you know what? That's me. Like, I'm all about new beginnings. Like, let's get it started. I'm a visionary. I can think of a million different things I want to do on the planet. And then my heart gets in it. Like, we're going to go into that. Timothy's going to start that out. And then when it comes to taking action, I get all scrambled up. So that's where I'm usually out of balance. I'm like, which first? What do I do? And then I forget it. Let's think of a new project because I love you.
Yeah. How many projects can I have going so I don't have to actually complete anything? That would be me, right? I'm doing so much, but none of it's.
So what I'm noticing in that is I'm going to slow down, and I'm not going to be attached to us getting through the 5. We're just
well, you know what I just heard when you said that was, oh yeah, we could do 2 parts or maybe even 3. I'm really enjoying this topic. Let's not rush, and let's bring in some tools and some exercises and give some things away.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to just slow down and really go through these so you guys can get clear and get some balance, and we can be together in this.
And just coming back up to the visionary step or the crown, meditation, journaling your dreams, going on a walk in nature, hugging a tree, just relaxing, sunbathing, a hot bath. Like, these are all that moment when you're falling asleep, that moment you're waking up. Light touch, which is something that Heidi and I both practice and kind of play in. I'm getting really good at it, and we can talk more about these things. But there are exercises, things you can do to bring you into the visionary emptiness, the space where it's not your mind creating, it's actually something kind of manifesting or a vision that comes through you. And then we have moved into the vocal area, and we talked a little bit, gave you a tool about, sing, make sound, clear your throat chakra, get it open, right? I like massage in this area. And now we're moving into, I think, the heart area.
Okay, so go ahead and you start that. I am sending somebody a message for this talk.
So the heart chakra, or if we just talk about the heart for a minute, the actual organ, it's the most important thing going on in your body, right? It is pumping blood through every aspect of your body, including your brain, moving, cycling oxygen, the lungs and the heart. And the heart after the brain, has the most neurological capacity, meaning it actually thinks, it actually generates its own impulses that go from the heart, originate there to the brain, contrary to what a lot of people think, that the brain is the only thing sending impulses. Your guts are also highly sending impulses to the brain, so the brain knows what to do. So your heart center is probably, in many traditions, the most important center to keep open and have energy flowing through. Most of us have suffered from some kind of trauma, birth, falling down on the playground and hurting our knee, to getting bullied, to being abandoned, loss, sexual trauma.
Almost had a
broken heart, emotional ending, right? And what happens is we contract, And most of us have learned, don't feel those uncomfortable bad feelings, and we stick them in jars and we hide them away in our secret vault somewhere, and we try to forget about it. Well, they don't actually go away. They're stored in our body. And just like head trauma, we'll keep hitting our head in the same place until we do some work through massage, cranial therapy to release the trauma. Emotions are the same. And until we actually feel those emotions and just whether they're uncomfortable or comfortable and let them out, we've then contracted our heart chakra. Well, why is that bad? We get depressed, we get ill, our immune system goes down, we're not having as much fun, our heart's not open, energy's not flowing through our system, through all of our chakras. So I'm just making an argument here that learning to deal with your emotional self, past, present, and future, and stay open, even in the face of heartbreak or loss or grief. And open means feeling what's happening without getting into a cathartic, addictive cycle where you love getting angry, so you get angry every 5 minutes and you take it out on people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about feeling what's underneath that anger so that you can release it and have a greater capacity to make choices and have more energy flow through your life.
So the ether moves us into the heart chakra, which is really the inspiration blueprint. It's where we have, this is the inspiration, and then we're coming into the blueprint. And when we come at something from our heart space and not our head space, and again, I'm not talking about the crown, but the, intellectual brain, it comes out better. And so that's part of the balance, is looking at the blueprint right here, slowing down. I mean, how many of us decide something, we do it, we got to get it done, and we got to get on with the next thing. Like, that is how I learned in life. Pull up your bootstraps. We got stuff to do, horse manure to scoop, fences to go. So when we slow down, and this is true in relationships too, with communication, when we slow down, intimacy can happen. And so let's slow down in these phases of our life cycle and learn how we can enjoy the journey. I used to hate to hear that. Like, I'm all about the destination. The journey sucks. I used to not like that at all. And now it's this resonance of, can I be balanced in my life? And can I just enjoy the next hour? Can I enjoy the day with whatever comes? And this is part of learning that balance in your body and your energy system and in your daily life through everything that you start and finish. And again, brushing your teeth, you do all these phases. You start it.
Yeah, standing in line at Disneyland, waiting to get on the Matterhorn or whatever the thing is, you can see there's some rare people who are dancing in line, talking to people, having a good time, and they're enjoying being at Disneyland, being in the line. They're not there going, God, the line's a lot longer than last year. Did you notice that, honey? Wow. I mean, they should limit more people. For the amount of money we paid for this ticket, and they're not really enjoying the line, enjoying being wherever you're at, and that's keeping the heart open. So this is good. Listen up.
And this is really important. You can write this down if you want. The air chakra or heart chakra is associated with intention. Intention is an aim or an action, or it's an aim that determines our actions and outcomes. So it's like setting the course and having the momentum to move forward. So this is where your inspiration is here. Then you move down into the heart, and you're taking that inspiration and making an intention of how you want to move it out into your life, the world, whatever.
That intention, what I hear you saying is that creates the guiding principles that are going to help you do your journey. And yes, you've got this intention, this destination, but you're really using the intention to create principles that help you manifest or do this in that way. And the example I'll give you is a lot of people dream of having children, but they don't really think about why. Some people do, pretty simple. Some people go, well, to replace myself. Some people, so I have somebody to pass on my wealth, those type of things. Some people, so I feel whole and complete. Some people, so whatever. But let's just say, let's imagine one intention, and that is a mother decides and a father decides they're going to raise a child with no guilt and no shame. You can imagine the guiding principles that then get activated in order to reach an adult, an 18-year-old individual, 22-year-old individual, 26-year-old individual, however long that takes, to have a full access to being an adult with no guilt and shame. That doesn't require them living in the destination. It requires the intention, the destination, and then the principles such as not shaming their children. And what does that look like? And how do we do that? And so I really like that Heidi is pointing us at intentions, the destination, guide us back into the present moment, into the principles that allow us to achieve what it is we want.
And here's the kicker, or the caveat, whatever you want to say, about intention. Before going into action, so normally we have a new idea, we go right into action. And then we're skipping the heart chakra. We're skipping the intention. So slowing down again. Before going into action, it's therefore essential to know and be in phase with. So I'm going to say that again. To know, not only know your intention, but to be in phase with your intention. Because here's what happens a lot. This being in phase with your intention is what makes empowered action possible. So how many times in relationship do you have an intention to get closer to the person you love, and the actions you take give you the exact opposite? Anybody have that happen in conversation? Why? Because we weren't in phase with our intention, or in touch with our intention. And if our intention is connection, we're going to go about it much differently because we slowed down. We thought about what our intention was. We thought about how we wanted to connect, and we thought it through. Are these actions going to bring about my intention? No, probably not. So let me go to something else. So again, we have to slow down. So that's just an example. But if you're doing a creative project or whatever, it's the same thing. If you don't know the intention of why you want to do the project you're starting, you might take actions that make it all chaotic and that are exhausting, and then the project's not fun. So it's worth looking at, what is my aim in this conversation? What is my intention in this vision that I'm having in this project that I want to do? What is the outcome that I'm seeking? What's my intention?
So good. I'm getting, like, in the visioning process, right? Think before you speak, grandma, right? Old wisdom. And then what I hear Heidi telling us is allow yourself to feel, what are the guiding principles? What are the intentions behind this vision? And really allow yourself to feel that, embody that before you craft your action plan.
Beautiful. So what are some ways that we can become in phase? So let's say if you're out, so obviously if you've had total heartbreak, you feel shut down, you're unable to love. I mean, those are dramatic things that show that the heart chakra is out of balance. But when the heart chakra is in balance, you can stay open in the face of pain. You can stay open in the face of grief. You are receiving and giving love. You're able to be clear on your intentions and to slow down. And so if you feel like you're a little out of balance in the heart chakra, we're going to do some heart chakra modalities that you can do. Drum roll, please. No, just kidding. So one beautiful heart chakra balancing exercise you can do by yourself, which is take both your hands. This is the sub chakra to your heart chakra. So bringing your hands together is a heart modality, but let's take palm to palm and place it on our heart. So this is just holding your own heart. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and imagine your heart being held, like you are actually holding your heart in tenderness in the palms of your hands. And maybe just become aware of what your heart looks like right now. What image or symbol, what color? Is it beating fast? Is it beating slow? Is it black? Is it broken? Is it red? You know, there's no right or wrong. Just holding awareness as you're holding your own heart. And I would love for anyone to type in the chat box what they're picturing. And I'm going to get quiet for a moment and picture something I can share with you. And we'll ask Timothy what he's picturing too. So what came to me right now doing that is the really clear knowledge of how often I used to abandon myself. And I still do it. But by holding my own heart, that was one of the things I learned, that when I was trying to fix something outside of me, I was taught to be reminded to come back to myself and hold myself in the anxiety or pain or fear or whatever I was trying to control outside of me. What was that causing? And so for me, I just pictured, or it was just more of a knowing. It wasn't a picture. It was like a comfortable feeling that I don't have to abandon me. I can hold me immediately in anything that I go through. That's what came to me right then.
Beautiful.
So I'd love you guys to put in the chat box your experience with holding your own heart. Did you see a color? Did you have a feeling? Timothy, what came up for you?
Mine was a red kind of ball or like orb, and it felt warm and kind of nebulous like the sun, but not so much like explosion. And then as I looked deeper into it, there was a red phoenix rising or flying, beginning to spread its wings, which I take to mean that I just came out of an intense cancer treatment. I no longer have cancer. I'm rebuilding myself in so many new ways. I'm really continuing my recovery work, and it does feel like a phoenix rising from the ashes. In many ways, I feel like it's been a 10-year cycle of death. And now I'm finally entering a new cycle of rebirth. So,
Ooh, beautiful. That's powerful. Wow. So we have a post. It says lavender with veins of deep red running through, touching sadness and hope. I saw red like a skilled bucket of paint, or spilled bucket of paint, maybe. Love it. Love it. Thank you guys for posting that and sharing your presence. It's a gift to give yourself presence. That's also a wonderful modality you can do with a friend, you can do with a lover, you can do with your partner or your child, is heart to heart. Yeah. You can put your hand on their heart, they put their hand on your heart, and then you can close your free hand over their heart that's holding your heart, and you can breathe in unison together. And it is beautiful entrainment exercise that I recommend dropping into. It's amazing what can arise: laughter, tears, visions, all kinds of things, stillness, and it's different every time. So it's really beautiful. My partner and I shared that the other morning. I had an intense time of just crying and grief, and we just laid in bed and held each other's hearts, and we ended up talking, which is not always easy for us. And the sweetness of doing that heart modality, and it came naturally for us that time. We didn't have to try to do it. We just started doing it, and it really softened everything and was amazing to have that experience coupled with the tears. And I've also had that experience coupled with total lightheartedness and joy. So there's no expectation or thing you have to go through doing it or feel. So
I would say too that as we tune into our hearts, it's a great way to keep it open and keep the energy flowing is to do what Heidi just did with us, where we hold our hearts once a day. in the morning, afternoon, sometime where you just sit, close your eyes, hold your heart. Because I'm noticing, even though I saw that image, there's also some tenderness. There's a little bit of sadness. There's some excitement. My heart's holding quite a few emotions. And if I weren't on this call right now, I might spend more time just feeling those feelings and not really worrying about why, just releasing them, acknowledging them, letting them move through me, and letting my heart, as I said earlier, expand back to its greatest capacity, as opposed to ignoring those emotions, which means I'm contracting, blocking energy. You can see if we're doing a project, we've got an intention, raise a child with no shame and guilt, or stand in the Disneyland line and enjoy ourselves. If we've got some kind of a project that we're doing or manifesting, and we tune into our heart, there's going to be moments during the project where we might feel like sad or angry or frustrated or excited about the possibility. All those emotions are valid, and we just let them go, let them move through us. And that'll allow us to take all that energy and put it back towards our intention, back with those principles, and manifest in a way that is easier than when we're forcing things or denying our feelings. I sound like a broken.
That's so funny that you just said that, because I'm about to recap and repeat myself. And I love when I teach, I like to reiterate things so I really get them. And for me, when I'm learning, I like to say it so that I'm like, oh, I got it. It's like this. But it's totally irritating to people that are close to me. Like, you always repeat yourself. But I get to do it because it's my talk, and I'm going to repeat myself right now. So I just want to reiterate that if you weren't on the call, this would be good. But in our throat chakra, so applying to anything in life, it's your inspiration. It's being still, it's being quiet, it's listening. It's kind of the void or the silence, right? And we move into the heart. We get to set an intention. We get to become clear. What is the outcome that we're wanting? What is the intention? What is the purpose? What is the vision? And am I in phase with it? Is what I'm thinking about doing going to bring me closer to that, or is it going to push me farther away? And that leads us into...
You're even talking about, and it's good you're bringing this up, but this is a whole other aspect. If we think of the heart as a guidance mechanism, a compass, let's say I have a short-term project or a new job or something, and I hate it. I don't like it. I wish I weren't doing it. And I can't figure out a way to transform my feelings or my perspective. It's just like, that could be that it's your heart, if you tune into it, telling you this is not what you need to be doing in your life, or a way you need to behave it, or you fill in the blank. So that heart, listening to it, learning how to use it as a guiding system, often can help us get out of our mind structures, which are like, oh, I need to get this done and do this way because my dad did that. No, if you want to, if it's your desire, if it's fulfilling to you, great. Then who cares if your dad did it or not? Maybe he was your role model. Perfect. But don't go do it just because your mom or your dad, or you think society tells you it must be done this way.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Timothy. So moving from the heart and our intention, goal, vision is the third phase of our life cycle. So we have 1, throat, 2, heart, 3 is the solar plexus. So on your body, this is the area under the breasts or the pectoral muscles and before the belly button and around your back. So your mid back, it's like the mid belt in the body. So the solar plexus are all about action. It's where we have our willpower. It's where we move forward. It's where we bring the inspiration, intention, and we go into action. So if you are on the chakra level, this is where we hold our anger. This is where we have lack of willpower or drive if we're out of balance. We can't get enough inertia to make decisions or get anything going. That's showing out of balance. If you're out of balance, you can also be an overdoer, like take way too much action that's not managed with your time and energy. And that's also an imbalance in the solar plex chakra. So this is represented by the frequency of fire, and it gives us the drive, the power, the enthusiasm, the ambition. When it's balanced, we have ambition, enthusiasm, charisma, and we also have thought about the intention to go into right action and to do it in a balanced way. And are my actions, again, matching my intention? Are they bringing me closer to my intention or further away from my intention? Go ahead, Timothy.
That's exactly what I wanted to kind of jump in on, which is if we have this impulse vision, we learn how to honor it with our heart. The next step is, are the actions that we're taking, the way we're doing it, or what we're doing itself, honoring our hearts, honoring our true self, or disrespecting our core values, disrespecting our heart, contracting. And again, it's where the mind can step in, the ego, and can be like, it needs to be done this way. And then our willpower, it's like we don't have it, we're losing energy, and our heart hurts, and we're sad, we're depressed. It's most likely because what we're doing in a way that's not actually honoring or betraying ourselves. And so this is an important aspect when we look at the actual actions, the steps that we're taking. How does that feel? How's it going? And we can make alterations and still have the same intention, but we can change the way we're going to get there. Just like sailing, we can go, I'm going to England from New York, but we sail to the south of France, and then we sail up the coast and we get to England, and it was a safer, more enjoyable, more honorable way. Whereas we try to just go straight to England and we're just getting buffeted by the winds and we're tacking all the time and it's super, super hard. We're not listening to the information that's coming at us, and we're like basically hurting ourselves, dishonoring ourselves, staying so and we probably all know people like this, or we can look at times in our life where we were rolling a stone uphill with our nose as opposed to picking it up and walking,
Yeah, it made me think of something, and I hope I can articulate this because it's, I think, important. But a lot of times I see people quit here. So you have the idea, you have the new intention, you take a lot of actions, and it doesn't feel good, the actions. It's like rolling the stone uphill, right? You're rolling the stone uphill and you're like, I quit. This is not what I'm meant to be doing, clearly, because this is exhausting. So if you're exhausted, you're frustrated, and you're mad about something, a lot of people quit. They think, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this. So that may be the case, but you don't decide in your solar plexus whether you're supposed to be doing something or not. Where you want to look first, if it's tiring and exhausting and yucky and you're rolling that stone uphill, you want to look at, was I inspired? Did I have the inspiration, and did I have a mad intention to open my heart and I really wanted this? So you could look at this in a relationship, right? You're in love, you want to be with the person, you're super excited, you have an intention to grow closer or to grow old together or to spend more time together, whatever it is. And then you move into the action of doing that and it gets all messy and you might quit then. And maybe if you weren't excited in the first place, if you didn't love the person in the first place, or you weren't clear on the intention, like maybe you guys didn't match in your intention, that's where you want to look, should I or shouldn't I? You don't want to look, should I or shouldn't I, in the actions just because you're in pain or you're exhausted. You want to look at, where's the intention, where's the inspiration, and are my actions matching it? Because if they're not matching it, that's why you're pushing a rock uphill. That's where you want to look. You
Really
don't want
well
to
said.
right then, necessarily.
I'm thinking of the example of Toyota, which is a company that makes cars. And they brought in this man in America, an American who no one in America, car companies, would listen to. And he was like, you need to have longer than a 4-year plan. You need to be thinking long term, and you need to be talking to the employees that are actually building the cars and getting all the little bits of information and things that they understand to make decisions up here at the top. Don't make decisions at the top and then frustrate all these people. Go listen to them, understand them. And he brought management down to the people. And Toyota became the car company that it is today based on that way of working. It's similar. Heidi's saying the same thing. We want to really pay attention to whether those actions are in alignment with the intention. And that involves listening in a way to all the root chakra, belly chakra, willpower, crown, third eye, visionary, throat, beginning to manifest. And I really believe it's through the heart that we do that. So.
So in the fire chakra, in our actions, a good exercise to balance that, I'm going to give you one kind of esoteric one and one practical one. And so the practical one is asking yourself that question and maybe writing about it. Are my actions getting me closer to my intention and my inspiration, or are they taking me farther away? So kind of analyzing the actions or the proposed actions. Am I doing these actions in a balanced way? So those are two things that you can ask yourself for check-in and write about it and check in about it. To balance the physical chakra, you can do something fun. And again, this is where we hold our anger and frustration. So often we get stuck there. We're like, and I quit because I'm angry and frustrated. That's why there's a lot of quitters in the solar plexus. So to balance that, and if you are angry and frustrated about anything, you can just do this as a modality for anger and frustration, but also to balance your solar plex chakra so you can move forward in a positive action way. You're actually going to stand up. I move my little desk here. You're going to stand up. So here's the solar plexus, and you're going to make fists, and we're just going to punch. You can make a noise with it if you want to. Good. Going. And then turn around and hit right under the bra strap for women and under the shoulder blades for men and both. And that's the back side of your solar plexus. Again, you can make a noise like This is also very energizing. And
make sure you do that above the kidneys. Don't punch your kidneys. Just above the kidneys. If you're not flexible, you might not be able to do it. Oh, wow. I feel better.
So energized. Anybody try that at home? If you didn't, get up and do it. So bossy today. So I'd love to know the feeling in your body after you do that. Put it in the comment box. I feel tingly everywhere and energized.
Same. I feel tingly from that spot, like the back above the kidneys, all the way up the front and back, up and out my head. And doing the punching, I got some good oxygen, and making the sound, it really helped open up my rib cage, my throat. And I'm just reminded that when we're in the action phase and we get frustrated or we get feedback from others that they're frustrated, and that could come by like they're ignoring something or they're not getting things done, or it's getting frustrating, that the way out of that is not only by like trying to rebalance our chakras, but is to come back to the heart, slow down, reassess. We're not quitting. Reassess within ourselves. Are the values, are the intentions in alignment? And then check in with the other people, because often they'll say, well, if we just did this way, I'd be much happier with it. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Yeah, let's do it that way.
Yeah, I have some comments in the box. Sorry, did I cut you off? So I have cells are smiling. Yay, happy cells. And another comment, it felt great, got my heart beating and a smile and deep breathing. Yay. So I'm reminded of, we're on Recovery Talk, right? So I always wanted to write a book, which I may never do because I stay in the new beginning. No, just kidding. I'm not the completion of how to get high in recovery. in under 3 minutes. And so I'm reminded doing these modalities, would we do that for like 10 seconds, 20 seconds max? And I felt completely different. How many of you needed the hit, the high, the cigarette, the porn, the drink, the whatever, and we wanted that immediate result? And so I'm just reminded that we can feel different.
I can hear my addict saying, it's a lot easier than jogging. I mean, fuck yeah. Let's go do that. Woo, it's quick, it's easy, and then there's a price to pay. Whereas the jogging, wow, I feel amazing all day afterwards, right? And there's no price to pay.
Yeah. So another comment was, I feel awake, right? She didn't snort cocaine. She did the kidney, the solar plex slap and the punching. So we can get high on our body's own chemicals, and we can do it in a way that's life-giving and not life-depleting. And the idea that we don't have time is a bunch of BS, because you can take 10 seconds and change the way you feel. So that's my little riff on recovery right now.
And if you dedicate 10 minutes to doing the Wim Hof type of breathing or Kundalini breathing, deep breathing, oxygenating your body, you're alkalizing your bloodstream. It's like you just had a salad and you didn't. You just breathed the air around you. But that requires, you got to YouTube that and look it up. But a lot of yoga teachers teach the same thing, kind of this prana breath. And it's such a great way to completely reset, I find, all the chakras all the way down to the root. There's no way to breathe like that without engaging your belly. And afterwards, you're like, who am I? What am I? Whoa, everything's possible.
Yeah, awesome. So moving prana intentionally was posted.
Let's save the last 2 chakras for next week. And then we can talk about, then we can put it all together and talk about just the different ways, because I think Heidi's way to manifest might be different than mine. They might be similar, and then we can have the callers also kind of give us theirs. But and we're not talking about something mystical. I'm not talking about magic wands. Nothing wrong with magic wands, by the way. But how do we have an intention, a vision, bring it into sound, into word? How do we actually, what are the ways of doing this? We're talking about the energetic spots in the body and how to kind of giving you some tools to loosen them up. But there's a lot of different philosophies and different kind of nuances to actually manifesting something that we envision.
Yeah.
Or that we're called to do.
It's an awesome idea, you guys. And I'm sorry it got really loud. I'm glad our call is almost over. So the first 3 phases we went over tonight for recap is number 1, the new beginnings, the ether, the void, the stillness. Number 2, the inspiration, the intention thing.
We can still hear you, so keep going. I know it's annoying for you, but it's way in the background.
I muted myself. Sorry, it was so noisy. And number 3, moving into action. So hopefully Timothy filled in that blank. I couldn't even hear, and I apologize. Somebody's doing yard work outside.
Yeah, if we just put our hands on it, it's like this area, like ether visioning, coming into here where it's sound, the ether as well. And then we've got a hand on the heart and a hand on the solar plexus, which is really feeling and energy, and then bringing that into action, and that guiding compass, the heart, the guiding compass, to whether the actions are in alignment with the vision, the intention, all the kind of guiding principles that are there. And then next week, we're going into belly and root, which are the volcano, the force, the womb, the creative space that gives birth to all of this.
And so join us next week, and we'll finish the 5 phases and move into manifestation as well. And thanks so much for chatting in the chat box and being on with us. Again, reach out to Timothy or I for a session, or to find out who to go to if we're not a fit for you. But definitely reach out. And again, thanks for being on. It was really fun chatting with you today. And I'm just going to read the last comment that's on here. I get high in recovery out in nature, especially snow and cold. Also deep meditation. Love to you all. And we'll see you next week at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Hawaii time, and aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo.